All right, listen up, because what I'm about to tell you is going to flip your brain inside out. You ever deal with someone who makes everything about them? Someone who can gaslight you so hard you start questioning if you even exist? Yeah, I'm talking about narcissists. And let's be honest, we spend way too much time trying to fix them, heal them, or worse, understand them. Enough of that. Today, I'm handing you the power back. I'm going to teach you 7 ways, yes, 7 ways to absolutely drive a narcissist crazy, ethically, strategically, and most importantly, without losing your damn mind in the process. Are you ready to stop playing by their rules and start winning your life back? Let's go. Narcissists thrive on attention. They need it the way the rest of us need oxygen, whether it's praise, admiration, or even anger and frustration. Any emotional reaction you give them is food for their ego. And they don't even care if it's good or bad attention. In fact, sometimes they prefer drama because it gives them more control. That's why silence is one of the most powerful tools you can use against them. Silence sends a message they cannot stand, that they are irrelevant, that they do not have control over you. And when you refuse to react, when you refuse to engage, it drives them absolutely insane because it cuts off their supply. Think about it. Narcissists are master manipulators. They bait you into arguments. They push your buttons. They poke at your insecurities, hoping you will explode, hoping you'll spiral so they can feel superior. Every time you react emotionally, it tells them they still own a piece of you. But when you stay silent, when you don't explain yourself, you don't defend yourself, and you don't even acknowledge their chaos, you steal their power right out from under them. It's like standing there while they throw a tantrum and you don't even flinch. They hate it. They crumble under it. They start panicking because the narcissist's greatest fear is losing control of their narrative. Silence isn't about being passive, though. It's a deliberate, strategic move. It's choosing not to waste your energy on someone who is never going to change, never going to listen, and never going to give you the closure you think you want. Every time you withhold a reaction, you're reminding yourself, not them, but yourself, that you are in control of your emotions. You are no longer playing the part they wrote for you. And let me tell you something, there is nothing more infuriating to a narcissist than someone who no longer plays the game. The biggest mistake people make is thinking they need to have the last word. They think, if I just explain it this one last time, maybe they'll understand. Newsflash, they understand perfectly well. They're just pretending they don't because it keeps you hooked. It keeps you explaining. It keeps you emotionally invested. Silence breaks that cycle. It's you saying, I don't owe you anything. Not my words, not my energy, not even my anger. And yes, it's uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to defending yourself. If you're used to wanting to be understood, narcissists train you to think you have to justify your existence to them. Breaking that habit feels wrong at first, but the more you practice silence, the more natural it becomes, the more empowered you feel, the more you realize you never needed their approval in the first place. Silence forces the narcissist to sit with themselves. And here's the truth they'll never tell you. They can't. They hate their own reflection when no one's propping them up. They need the noise, the chaos, the arguments to distract them from the emptiness they feel inside. So when you give them nothing, not your words, not your anger, not even your attention, you're not just torturing them, you're setting yourself free. When you're dealing with a narcissist, normal boundaries don't work. You can't just hint at what you need or hope they'll respect your wishes out of decency or kindness, because narcissists don't operate that way. They don't recognize subtlety, and they certainly don't respect vulnerability. That's why your boundaries have to be brutal, clear, sharp, and absolutely non-negotiable. No explanations, no warnings, no second chances. A narcissist will test you every single time you leave a door cracked open. They'll poke at your limits to see if you'll cave, and the second you show weakness, they take it as an invitation to bulldoze right over you. Brutal boundaries aren't about being mean. They're about survival. They're about protecting your mental health, your self-respect, and your peace. When you set a boundary with a narcissist, you're not asking for their permission. You're making a statement, this is what I accept, this is what I will not tolerate, period. And most importantly, you follow through. Because trust me, if you don't enforce the boundary immediately and consistently, they will smell blood in the water. They'll push harder, manipulate better, and charm faster. The only language a narcissist understands is consequence. It's going to feel harsh at first, especially if you're someone who's been conditioned to be the peacekeeper, the fixer, or the people pleaser. And you'll hear that voice in your head whispering, maybe I'm being too cold. Maybe I should just explain one more time. Ignore that voice. That voice is the result of years of gaslighting and self-doubt. You owe no explanations for protecting your peace. You owe no justifications for saying no. And you definitely owe no second chances to someone who has shown you time and time again that they will only ever take what you give and demand even more. The key to setting a brutal boundary is clarity. You can't afford to be vague with a narcissist. Don't say things like, I'd appreciate it if you didn't call me late at night. Say, if you call me late at night, I will not answer. And if it continues, I will block your number. Direct, simple. No wiggle room, no room for interpretation. And when, not if, but when they test that boundary, you act immediately. No emotional discussions, no bargaining. Action speaks louder than words, especially with someone who only listens when there's something to lose. Narcissists are experts at wearing you down. They know that if they badger you long enough, guilt trip you hard enough, or charm you sweetly enough, you might bend. That's why brutal boundaries have to become part of who you are, not just something you try when you're feeling strong. It has to be automatic, muscle memory, second nature. Because narcissists aren't just fighting for control of the situation, they're fighting for control of you. And every time you reinforce a boundary without drama, without apology, you're taking your power back in a way they cannot stand. You're teaching them, and more importantly, teaching yourself that you are not available for manipulation, that you are not an endless well of second chances, that your peace, your mental clarity, your energy are not up for negotiation. And when you hold that line, no matter how hard they push, no matter how much they rage or guilt trip, you are doing something most people never have the courage to do with a narcissist. You are refusing to play their game. You are refusing to let them dictate the rules of engagement. You are standing so firm in your own worth that no amount of manipulation, no sweet talk, no threats can shake it. Narcissists feed on emotional reactions the way a fire feeds on oxygen. They are wired to seek out emotional chaos because it gives them a sense of power. When you react, whether it's anger, tears, frustration, or even desperation, you're giving them exactly what they want. You're proving that they still have control over your internal state. That's why staying emotionally flat is one of the most powerful ways to disarm them. It's not about being numb or pretending you don't care. It's about refusing to give them the performance they're desperate for. They will try every trick in the book to get under your skin. They'll push your buttons. They'll bring up old wounds. They'll gaslight you until you start questioning your own memory. They'll bait you into defending yourself, trying to pull you into a battle you can't win. The second you engage emotionally, you're hooked. You're dancing to their music. But when you stay flat, when you don't flinch, don't rage, don't tear up, don't even look impressed or disappointed, you strip them of their weapon. You force them to face their own emptiness without the distraction of your reaction. Staying emotionally flat doesn't mean you don't feel. Of course you do. Inside you might be furious, hurt, confused. But on the outside you are calm, grounded, and controlled. Think of it like dealing with a toddler throwing a tantrum. You don't argue with them. You don't scream back. You stay calm because you know reacting only feeds the chaos. With a narcissist, you must train yourself the same way. Your calmness is not weakness. It is dominance. It is discipline. It is the ultimate power move. It will absolutely infuriate them. They may escalate their behavior, trying harder and harder to get a rise out of you. Expect it. Be ready for it. When they realize that no matter what they say or do, you stay emotionally steady, they start to panic. They lose their sense of superiority. They lose their sense of control. And eventually, they realize you are no longer the easy target you once were. It takes practice and it takes intention. You have to decide ahead of time that no matter what they throw at you, insults, guilt trips, lies, you will respond with the same flat, neutral energy every single time. No raised voice, no defensive explanations, no emotional outbursts. A narcissist cannot win a game you refuse to play. Your emotional flatness forces them to face their own inability to provoke, to control, and to dominate. When you master this, you will not only torture the narcissist, you will also find a whole new level of inner strength within yourself. You'll realize you have complete control over your own emotional world. You'll realize you are not a puppet on anyone's strings. You are grounded. You are solid. And no narcissist can touch that. Narcissists are addicts, but their drug isn't alcohol or gambling. It's attention. They crave it constantly. And it doesn't even matter what form it comes in. Praise, admiration, arguments, even someone begging for their approval. It all fuels their ego. Every glance, every text, every reaction is another hit for them. That's why one of the most devastating things you can do to a narcissist is starve them of your attention and validation. It cuts straight to the core of their need to be seen, admired, and constantly reassured of their importance. It's not enough to simply pull back a little. You have to go all in. Attention starvation has to be total. No texting them when you feel lonely. No liking their posts to seem polite. No responding to their bait messages or their fake emergencies. Every time you break and feed them a crumb of validation, they win. And they don't just win, they're energized, motivated to dig their hooks in deeper. You have to commit to becoming a black hole where your attention used to be. Nothing gets through. No energy, no validation, no acknowledgement. Narcissists survive by controlling the narrative. They like being the center of your universe, even if that means being the villain instead of the hero. If they can make you cry, rage, or chase them for answers, they're still in control. When you starve them of attention, you shatter that dynamic. Suddenly, they are no longer the main character in your life. They're a side note, an afterthought. And they can't handle that kind of demotion. It terrifies them. Because without external validation, the narcissist has to sit with the reality of who they really are. Empty, insecure, and insignificant. Starving a narcissist of attention looks like ignoring their drama completely. It looks like not reacting to the subtle digs they throw your way. It looks like walking away in the middle of their performance because you have better things to do. It looks like treating their existence with the same level of emotional investment you'd give a stranger standing across the street. Indifference, not hatred. Disinterest, not anger. Hatred still feeds them. Indifference starves them. At first, they will escalate. They will find new ways to bait you. They'll try to provoke you into responding, maybe even by pretending to change, pretending to be vulnerable, or pretending they need you. They might start playing the victim, hoping you'll feel guilty enough to give them the attention hit they're desperate for. Don't fall for it. Stay firm. Remember, every time you reward bad behavior with attention, you're teaching them exactly how to control you. The beauty of starving them of validation is that you also free yourself. You reclaim all that time, energy, and emotional labor you used to waste on managing their moods and reactions. You get to redirect that energy toward yourself, your goals, and the people in your life who actually deserve your attention. You realize that your energy is a currency, and narcissists are like emotional con artists trying to rob you blind. Starving them isn't just a punishment for them. It's a liberation for you, narcissists. Narcissists believe they are entitled to your attention simply because they exist. Here is something more than seeing you thrive without them. An action that evokes the key word fear. Anything to prove they still matter. When you take that away, they're left gasping for air in a vacuum of silence and indifference. And the more you withhold, the weaker they become. They can no longer manipulate you. No longer control you, no longer define you. You're not just hurting their feelings, you're attacking the very foundation of their identity. Narcissists hate nothing more than seeing you thrive without them. They need to believe that you are lost without their validation, that you're somehow incomplete or broken without their influence. The ultimate revenge, the ultimate way to torture a narcissist is not through fighting, arguing, or seeking revenge directly. It's by building a life so full, so joyful, and so grounded in self-worth that they become irrelevant. Living well isn't just the best revenge. It's the ultimate form of freedom. When you focus completely on your own growth, happiness, and success, you shift the spotlight entirely off of them. They no longer get to be the center of your world. You become the center of your own world. And nothing enrages a narcissist more than realizing they have no power, no influence, and no access to the new version of you, because deep down, they believe they are superior to you. Watching you rise without them, watching you become stronger and happier, crushes the fantasy they have about their own importance. Living your best life isn't about faking it either. It's not about posting highlight reels on social media to make them jealous. That still keeps them at the center of your attention. True winning is about building a life that feels good when nobody's watching. It's investing in real friendships, setting and achieving personal goals, finding peace in your own skin, and waking up excited about your own future. It's about discovering, maybe for the first time, that you are enough, all by yourself, no external validation required. At first, they might try to hoover you back in. They'll send little messages to test the waters. They'll act like they miss you or pretend they've changed. Don't fall for it. Real change isn't a few sweet words after years of manipulation. Real change would require them to lose their narcissism. And that's not happening because you started smiling more. Keep moving forward. Keep focusing on you. Keep shutting the door tighter every time they try to wedge it open. The beautiful thing is that as you build this new life, you stop caring what they think at all. Their opinion becomes irrelevant. Their approval becomes meaningless. You stop needing the very thing they've been using to control you all along. You become untouchable, not because you built walls, but because you built a life so real, so authentic, that they simply don't fit into it anymore. Winning isn't about showing them anything. It's about showing yourself that you were never the problem. You were just stuck in a cycle that made you doubt your own worth. Living your best life breaks that cycle. It writes a new story, one where the narcissist is no longer the villain because they're no longer even in the picture. You moved on, you leveled up, and they can't stand it. Narcissists survive by spinning lies. Lies to you, lies to themselves, lies to anyone who will listen. Their entire existence is about controlling the narrative, shaping reality to suit their needs, and keeping you confused, second-guessing, and chasing their approval. One of the fastest ways to cut through that fog and drive them absolutely crazy is to use radical truth. Not watered-down truth, not sugar-coated truth, brutal, unflinching, clear-eyed truth that exposes exactly what they're doing without apology. You're not doing this to argue with them. You're not trying to convince them to change. You're speaking truth for you, to affirm your reality, to stop playing their games, and to make it crystal clear that you see through the manipulation. Narcissists hate being seen for what they really are. They count on your confusion and self-doubt to keep you under control. When you calmly, confidently call out their tactics, gaslighting, blame shifting, projection, you destroy the illusion they've worked so hard to maintain. Radical truth doesn't mean fighting or yelling. It's calm, it's direct, it's firm. It sounds like, that's not what happened, and I'm not going to argue about it. It sounds like you are trying to twist this conversation to make me the problem, and I'm not playing along. You don't need to justify, explain, or defend yourself. You simply tell the truth and let it land. At first, they might laugh it off, mock you, or accuse you of being crazy. That's normal. It's their defense mechanism kicking in. Stand your ground. Keep your emotions flat. Keep your truth clear. They will get desperate to make you backpedal because if you stay in your truth, you force them to confront their own lies. And that is unbearable for a narcissist. The best part about using radical truth is that it frees you from needing their approval. You stop chasing closure or understanding. You realize you never needed them to validate your experience. You are standing in your own clarity, and they can either deal with it or disappear. Either way, you win. You're no longer trapped in their twisted version of reality. You're anchored in your own